Okay, I want you to picture a scenario. I think this is going to feel uncomfortably familiar for a lot of people listening.
Hmm.
Imagine you are just excellent at what you do. You know, maybe you're a structural engineer, a top-tier cybersecurity auditor, or maybe like the subject of our deep dive today, you're a master of logistics.
30 years of experience. You can just look at a supply chain and see the problem.
You can see where the money is leaking out.
Yeah.
You are, by definition, a subject matter expert.
Right, but there's a problem.
And here is the problem. You are stuck in that classic, just soul-crushing B2B nightmare, and you have all this value to give, but you are trying to sell it to people who absolutely, under no circumstances, want to talk to a salesperson.
It's the universal dread. I mean, the cold call is dead.
Right.
The second you send that email that says, I can save you money, a wall just goes up.
Click, delete,
Done.
finish.
Exactly. So the question we're wrestling with today is, how do you sell when nobody wants to be sold to? And to answer that, we're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating set of strategic planning documents. We're looking at a case study of a logistics firm, GRG, and its principal, a guy named Ken. And Ken here is, well, he's basically a proxy for everyone listening, right? He's sitting on this mountain of knowledge domain authority. But he's trying to figure out how to deploy that in an age of AI and just, incredibly skeptical buyers.
And the pivot he's making is huge. He's working with an AI strategist to move from being a freight broker, which, let's be honest, is a commodity,
Oh, well, great.
to becoming something they call a freight economist.
Great economist. It sounds heavy, doesn't it?
It sounds expensive, but it also sounds necessary. So the mission for this deep dive is to unpack the strategy behind that title. We're going to talk about shifting from solution phase marketing to what they call research phase marketing.
And that means using AI tools to intercept a potential client before they even know they need to buy anything.
And that distinction, solution versus research phase, that is the absolute foundation of this entire strategy.
It is. If you don't get that, none of the other stuff is going to make sense.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dig into that. Because in my head, if I have a solution, I should be marketing the solution. Why do the sources say that's the wrong move?
Well, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just, it's too late. Most companies live and die in the solution phase.
Right.
This is the noisy part of the market. This is where you're shouting, buy our transportation management system, or we're the best 3PL in the Midwest.
So look at me, look at my features phase.
Precisely. It's the we save you 20% pitch.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. By the time a client is looking for a solution, they have already diagnosed their own problem. They've already decided what they need. Now they're just shopping for the cheapest vendor. You're just fighting a price war.
You're already a commodity at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the real opportunity, the freight economist approach, is to go upstream, way upstream, into the research phase.
Okay, walk me through that. What does the research phase actually look like for a buyer?
Oh, it's the messy part. You got to picture a CFO or like an operations manager at 2 in the morning. They're not looking for a vendor yet.
They're just staring at a spreadsheet.
Panicked. Staring at a spreadsheet, panicked. And they're asking, why did my shipping rates just spike 15%? Or what on earth is this new density regulation that's coming in 2026?
So they aren't looking for a sales pitch. They are looking for an answer.
They're looking for stability. And the strategy here is to own the question. The sources call this building a latent intent map.
A latent intent map. Okay, that sounds a bit like spycraft. What does that actually look like for a logistics guy like Ken?
It's actually very grounded. You map out the specific triggers that cause a buyer to start searching. Specifically, the triggers that cause, high friction or anxiety.
Can you give me a concrete example from the files?
Sure. Looking at the source material, they identify some really specific search triggers. One is NMFC 2026 density change impact.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. NMFC 2026 density change. That sounds like complete gibberish to me. Why is that a trigger?
To you and me, it's boring. To a logistics manager, it is a nightmare. It refers to a regulatory change in how freight is classified that could literally cost a company millions in unexpected fees.
Wow.
Another one they mapped was Arizona TMS for small manufacturer, or even just wire LTL that's less than truckload rates increasing.
So these are the specific things keeping people up at night.
Yes. And here's the key. If you can be the one to answer those questions with authority, and without asking for a credit card, without forcing a demo, You gain what the strategist calls an asymmetric advantage.
You're not a salesperson anymore.
You're the expert who turned on the lights in a dark room.
Okay, I get the philosophy. We need to catch them while they're researching. But how? Because the advice Ken is getting here isn't go build a nicer brochure website. It actually feels like the exact opposite of that.
It is a radical departure. It's a shift away from the standard corporate site, you know the drill.
Uh-huh.
Home, about us, our history, our values.
Here's a picture of our building website.
Right. And nobody cares about your building. The strategy here is to build a freight intelligence hub. And the Force material uses this great analogy. Think of the website not as a lobby,
Where you just wander around.
but as a lab.
A lab. That implies work is actually getting done.
Exactly. It's surgical.
Yeah.
The rule of thumb in the documents is one problem, one page, one tool.
One problem, one page, one tool.
Yep. If I'm a manufacturer worried about shipping rates in Arizona, I shouldn't land on your homepage and have to hunt around. I should land on a page specifically built to analyze Arizona shipping rates.
And visually, these pages are different.
Completely. They're stripped
Yeah.
down. The strategist advises hiding the main navigation, hide the About Us fluff.
Wait, hide the navigation. I have to challenge that. Isn't that bad user experience? Don't you want people to explore the site?
In a general sense, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But in this context, no. You want them to solve the problem. The goal is to reduce what they call cognitive load.
Yeah.
When someone's stressed about a freight regulation, they don't want to read your mission statement. They just want to know if they're compliant. It's about entering a tool, not a showroom.
That's bold. It's basically saying, we are so confident, we're just going to give you the utility. Now, the sources mention a pretty specific tech stack for this. This doesn't sound like a standard WordPress job.
Oh, no, this is a modern headless stack.
Yeah.
They talk about using a platform called Lovable for building the pages, Cloudflare for hosting, so it's incredibly fast. And then this is the secret sauce embedding Google Agent Studio bots to handle the actual math.
The math. Okay, that's a perfect segue because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is the moat. The specific tools Ken is building to separate himself from every other broker with a phone.
This is the heart of it. This is the freight economist approach. You don't capture leads with charisma. You capture them with math.
All right, let's dig into the flagship tool they mention, the NMFC 2026 Density Exposure Analyzer. We touched on this, but I want to understand how it actually works. Why is this tool the flagship?
Because it addresses the single biggest pain point coming down the pipe. So here's the context you need. The sources mention these huge regulatory changes about density tables happening around July 19 and rolling into 2026.
Okay, break that down for those of us who don't speak trucking. What is a density table?
Okay, simplest terms. For a long time, shipping prices were kind of flexible based on weight, but now carriers are getting much smarter. They're using these laser scanners called Freight Snap.
Freight Snap.
Yeah. So when a pallet arrives at a terminal, lasers scan it instantly. If the dimensions don't match exactly what was on the paperwork, I mean, even by an inch, the system automatically reclassifies the freight
Which I assume means the price goes way up.
immediately, and usually by a lot. It's automated revenue for the carrier and a massive, unpredictable headache for the shipper.
So Ken's strategy is to build a bot to fight back.
But it's not a chatbot that says, how can I help you? It's a calculator.
So walk me through it. I'm a shipper. I'm worried about my pallets. What do I do?
You go to this specific page, you type in something like plastic liquid totes, 2,600 pounds, 48 by 40 footprint. You just give it the raw data.
And the bot does the math.
The bot takes that, calculates the cubic feet, determines the density in pounds per cubic foot, checks it against the new 2026 rules, and then predicts the probability of a reclassification audit.
That is incredibly useful. That's not a sales pitch. That is a utility.
And that's the hook. Because the lead capture happens after the value is delivered. The bot says something like, your risk profile is high. Would you like me to email you the full PDF summary?
That is so much smoother than sign up for our newsletter. You've already proven you can help before you even asked for their email.
Exactly. It positions Ken as the guy who understands the math that's costing the money. He's not selling. He's diagnosing.
Okay, there's another tool mentioned here that I think every business owner can relate to, even outside of logistics, the GRI Response Playbook. First off, define GRI for us.
General rate increase. It's that letter every company gets once a year where their carrier says, hey, inflation's up, fuel's up, so your prices are going up 4.5% starting next month.
Ugh. And usually you just kind of grumble and pay it, right? I mean, what choice do you have? You have to move your goods.
Most do. They feel like they're being held hostage. But the tool Ken's building turns that trigger, that moment of anger, into a negotiation strategy.
How? Does it just write an angry letter for you?
It's way smarter than that. The tool asks for the details of the increase. Then it uses real market data to generate a formal response letter or like a negotiation framework.
So it actually arms them with data.
Yeah, it effectively says, actually, based on the current spot market rates in these lanes, a 4.5% increase is unjustified.
Mm.
And here's the data proving why.
So it empowers the shipper to fight back with information they wouldn't normally have access to.
It creates that asymmetric advantage for the little guy.
Right.
It turns a helpless moment into an empowered one.
I'm seeing a pattern here. All of these tools are about exposing hidden costs. Which brings us to the third one, the CSP versus 3PL rate comparator. This one seems to dig into some industry secrets.
Oh yeah, this is where the freight economist really shines. The source highlights this massive discrepancy in the market. CST clients, those are clients using a specific carrier pricing program, often end up paying what are called legacy rates.
Legacy rates meaning old, expensive rates.
Exactly. They get comfortable. Meanwhile, the big 3PLs, the third-party logistics providers, are getting these huge blanket discounts because of their massive volume.
So you might think you have a good deal because you've been with the same carrier for 10 years, but you're actually suffering from financial leakage.
That's the term they use, leakage. So this tool is the diagnostic. You input your historic shipping lanes, and it compares them against the current market rates 3PLs are paying. It finds the leak.
I love that. It's finding money you didn't even know you lost.
Okay, but then there's one more tool that's a bit different. It's not about money. It's about security. The cyber risk assessment. This one is scary, and frankly, it should be. The source quotes stats from something called the Highway Cyber System. And listen to this. In just 1 month, April, they blocked 146,019 fraudulent emails.
Wait, 140,000 in 1 month? That seems impossibly high.
That's just 1 month of data. And they intercepted over 10,000 spoofed calls.
Spoofed calls like, hello, this is the driver, but it's not the driver.
Exactly. Cargo theft is a massive industry now. Bad actors will impersonate a carrier, pick up your load, and just vanish. The logistics industry is a huge target for identity theft.
So this tool is a quiz.
Yeah, it assesses if shipper's vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Are you checking carrier IDs? Is your system secure against these specific spoofing tactics? It effectively says, here is a hole in your boat you didn't even know about.
And it scares them a little, rightfully so, and then offers the solution.
Okay.
So we have the philosophy, the research phase. We have the ecosystem, the labs. We have the tools, the moat. But here is the million-dollar question. How do people find this stuff? I mean, if I build the best density analyzer in the world, does it matter if it's just sitting in a dark corner of the internet?
That's the traffic strategy. And the sources outline a really forward-thinking approach here. It starts with something they call AEO.
AEO. Answer engine optimization. I know SEO, but AEO is new to me.
Think of it this way. SEO is about ranking on Google, so a human clicks a blue link. AEO is for the age of AI.
Okay.
In 2026, AI search engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Bing Copilot, they function differently. They don't want to give you a list of links. They want to give you the answer.
They want the meat.
They want tables, definitions, formulas. They hate marketing fluff. So if you write a blog post that says, we are a passionate team dedicated to excellence, ChatGPT just ignores it. It's noise.
So how does Ken optimize for this? How do you write for a robot?
The strategy is to publish schema-rich content.
Schema-rich. Unpack that for me.
It just means structuring your data so a machine can easily parse it. If Ken publishes a clean HTML table of the 2026 density classes with clear headers and definitions, the AI scrapes that, understands it, and then it cites Ken as the source.
So you're writing for the robot, so the robots will recommend you to the humans.
Basically, if ChatGPT trusts your math, the user trusts ChatGPT, and by extension, they trust you. It's a trust transfer.
But they aren't just waiting for robots to find them. There's a plan for LinkedIn too, right? And I have to say, the source material here takes a bit of a swing at a common belief.
Oh yes, it explicitly debunks the idea that LinkedIn is saturated.
I feel like I hear that all the time. LinkedIn is too noisy. It's just influencers posting selfies.
The strategist argues it's only saturated with bad ads. You know the ones, the generic corporate bragging. We are thrilled to announce our Q3 results.
Right, girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the blueprint for Ken is different. It breaks down into 3 phases. Phase A is authority.
What does that look like?
You target the executive presidents, CFOs. But you don't sell them anything. You hit them with pure thought leadership. Like a post titled, What a 4.5% GRI Really Means for Your Bottom Line.
No hard sell. No click here to buy.
Nothing. Just smart analysis. You're building the reputation. You're showing up in their feed as the smart person who knows what's going on.
Okay, so that's phase A.
Then comes phase B, conversion. You retarget the people who engaged with phase A. Now you show them the specific tool. Worried about that GRI we talked about. Use our calculator to see your specific risk.
Ah, so you warm them up with the problem, then you offer the calculator as the solution.
And finally, phase C is the close. That's where you offer the 10-minute exposure review or the specific PDF report. You've earned the right to ask for the meeting because you've already given them value. Twice.
It's a funnel, but it feels very respectful of the buyer's intelligence. It treats them like a peer, not a prospect.
That's the key. You aren't tricking them, you're auditing them.
The sources also touch briefly on the future of ads, specifically in-product ads in ChatGPT. Is that a real thing?
It's on the horizon. The source notes it as a future channel. The idea is that eventually you'll be able to place ads directly inside the AI chat interface. They specifically mention the US free or go tiers.
So if I'm asking ChatGPT about freight rates, that's the perfect time to see an ad for a freight rate tool.
It's the ultimate contextual relevance. It's not interrupting your day, it's actually aiding your current task.
So let's zoom out. We've covered a lot of ground here. We started with Ken, a guy with 30 years of experience who was just tired of the cold call.
And we watch him move from salesperson to practitioner. And that's really the core takeaway. By solving a technical problem for free with an AI tool, trust is established instantly.
You stop trying to convince people you're smart and you just prove it.
And I want to be clear, this applies to any industry, not just logistics. If you're a tax accountant, build a calculator for the new tax code. If you're a structural engineer, build a tool that assesses crack width in concrete.
If there's complex math or regulations or confusing data in your field,
You can build a tool. You can become the economist of your niche.
it's a powerful shift. Instead of chasing the client, you put something valuable in the road so they trip over it. In a good way.
You become the resource they can't afford to ignore.
So, here's my final thought for everyone listening. And I want you to really think about this in the context of your own business. If your potential client had a burning, specific technical question about your industry right now, and they Googled it, what would they find?
That's the question.
Would they find your Contact Us page and a sales pitch? Or would they find a tool that actually answers them? Because the difference between those two things, that's the difference between being a pest and being a partner.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for diving in with us today. Until next time, keep asking the hard questions.
See you next time.